Good morning, everybody. I'm Mark Zinni in this Sunday morning for Eric Parker. Roads washed out, homes flooded. We begin our program this morning talking about the very scary situation that unfolded when the rain poured down last week. Over 10 inches fell on Norfolk in a very short period of time. John Barbagallo was in the middle of all of it, dealing with crisis after crisis. He is the Assistant Emergency Management Director with the town, and he's joining us this morning to talk more about the week. John, thank you very much for being here today. Let's go back to when the rain started to fall. How quickly did you know something was wrong here?
As soon as we started getting numerous 911 calls, we had some people trapped in between floodwaters, and that was really the first indicator that this was a little more than a usual rainfall.
Could you tell pretty quickly that this was going to develop into a very bad situation for the town?
Well, obviously, rescuing people from floodwaters is not something that we typically do in Norfolk. Once we saw that the rain, how hard it was coming down and for how long it was coming down, we knew that we were going to be in trouble.
I know we were there for several days covering the aftermath of it, but people are still dealing with this. What is the situation there now?
Well, thankfully, no one got displaced out of homes, so that's good. And for the last few days now, with some of the sunshine coming around, people have been out cleaning up, raking, pumping out cellars. Our state and local DOT folks have been tremendous, along with their contract help. And we've already had some of the restoration completed. So that's a positive thing.
Yeah, that is certainly some good news. Was it a combination of the rainfall, the water building, and then I was also reading about some issues with some dams or some potential threats from a dam being let go?
Well, we do have a lot of beaver dams in these little brooks that canvas Norfolk. So obviously any floodwaters, and we just got 5 to maybe 6, 7, 8 inches in an hour and a half. And that was just too much for the streams to handle. And then you throw in beaver dams getting released, and then all of a sudden, all the problems multiply.
Was there a certain part of town here that really took the brunt of the damage?
Yes, it was definitely in the southern part of Norfolk, south of the center of town that most people are used to. And, it was just a perfect situation where the hills all funneled several streams all into one place. And that's why the damage occurred where it did.
Obviously, I would imagine town crews and folks have been out for days working to clean up the mess. What have you seen from the community as well? I would imagine there's been a real outpouring, a big response.
So we do get a lot of responses to our selectman's office and social media, people asking what they can do to help their neighbors. We have had to fulfill some of those requests. So it's been nice that we have a group of people that we can count on to help their neighbors, and it's worked out well so far.
Yeah, certainly a nice turnout and a show of support. I was reading on the town website, actually, that the bridges on Smith Road and Old Goshen Road at the intersection of Route 272, will those have to be completely rebuilt?
So Route 272 culvert did fail, and that's the state road. So the state DOT is very actively looking to expedite that fix, because that's the major thoroughfare through north to south through our town. And then the neighboring roads right near there suffered some catastrophic damage. And because of the expense and the extent of the damage, we don't expect those 2 town roads to be fixed for maybe 6 months, maybe going on to a year.
And is this going to mean detours for some individuals, or maybe just some road closures for an extended period of time?
Yeah, so definitely some road closures right where those culvert failures occurred. It doesn't isolate anyone. Thankfully, they can go another route, but it's going to be an inconvenience factor definitely for folks in the southern part of town. Did
you get a good response from the state level? I would imagine that they were there, or at least attempted to get there quickly to help out.
So yes, our DEMIS, Emergency Management Coordinator at the state level, has been great. And I can't say enough so far about the amount of effort and manpower that the state DOT has brought to town. Thankfully, we're one of the few towns that were affected by this, so the state can throw a lot of resources at us, and it's been evident so far. So we're thankful for that.
It's pretty incredible when you see what's happened up in Vermont over the week. And like you just pointed out right there, it was confined to certain communities, sadly, including yours. What would your advice be for folks in town now? You know, obviously we've had more rain over the past few days. What do you need people to do to help manage all of this?
Well, first, we're asking that people obey the road closures. We're certainly not encourage any sightseeing. And with the latest rain, there's concerns that any damage done from earlier in the week could be made worse. So we're hoping for the best at this point.
You know, we say this all the time on the news, and I know in your role you probably say it as well. When folks see water, you can't emphasize this enough. Don't drive through it. Don't think you're familiar enough with the road because, and correct me if I'm wrong, you may not know what's already happened under the water, right?
So there's two concerns. One is the power of the water. If it is deep, it is very easy to sweep a car, a pickup truck, mail garbage truck right out. So, and that's if you can see it. And what you don't see is the damage that the water might be doing under the road. So while it may look passable with only a few inches on the road, the road underneath might be gone and you can't see it, especially at night.
We were just showing some video there from earlier in the week, and you can see clearly what you were just talking about, where the water has gone under the road, and then the top would then ultimately cave in, especially if the weight of a car is coming over it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we haven't had any reported injuries, and thankfully no fatalities, and we certainly don't want to change that at this point.
Well, you have had quite a busy few months, right? So this is the second time in 9 months that you've had to declare a state of emergency, and the first was because of that the gas spill in November, right?
Well, actually, this is our third declared emergency with the state since that, starting with the gasoline spill in November, and then we had between 19 and 25 inches of snow in March that we declared an emergency for and needed mutual aid assistance with, and now this being number 3 in less than a year.
What kind of toll does that take, though, on the community? I mean, obviously, you're a small community.
Well, obviously, there's a financial impact, which, our selectmen are very eager to try to get more information from. But it does tax our volunteer EMS and fire folks, and us in emergency management are volunteers. And our local road crews, they have been out, all hours of the day trying to help out in all 3 of these emergencies. And, it adds up.
I would imagine it takes a toll as well on the individuals living there. I know you have some events coming up this, over the past few days. They have had donation drives and things like that to help people out in the community, which is certainly a wonderful, a positive side of such a negative situation.
Yeah, certainly our civic groups in town have become active with all this, our churches, our local foundations. So in that case, it is bringing the community together in a weird, strange kind of way. But so that's nice to see. But I'm not sure I want a 4th one anytime soon.
Yes, I'm sure everybody would agree with you, John. Thank you. John Barbagallo, the Assistant Emergency Management Director with the town of Norfolk. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Well, a 15-year-old from Connecticut makes it to the pros in soccer. We are speaking with Peyton Miller about signing with the New England Revolution. That's coming up in today's Sunday Spotlight. But up next, 2nd District Congressman Joe Courtney on his mission to make sure that military families get health benefits when a military member dies.